This is another short video on the features and functions of the Casio CT-X3000 keyboard, and this time we're still concentrating looking on the buttons and controls on this side of the keyboard, but this time I'm going to look at the split function. And as it suggests, it splits the keyboard into one half and another half. At the moment I've got it set to the stage piano sound, so if I play the keyboard, you can hear the piano stretched across the 5 notes of the 5 octaves of the keyboard. I've also put a little virtual keyboard up in the corner here just to show you that I am playing the whole range of the keyboard. So now if I press the split button, it's going to create a split. And on the screen it now says L1, which signifies lower 1. So now if I play the piano middle C, and I keep going down here, it changes voice to an acoustic bass sound. So I've got bass in my left hand and piano in my right hand. I've changed the octave of this bass sound so that it actually will display up on my keyboard, but it's maybe a little bit too high for a natural sounding bass. It's not too bad there. But again, using the buttons that we've looked at earlier, the octave buttons or the transposition controls and other controls, I can change that. The way to do that, the way to change the octave of your lower keyboard, is to go into the function button, and then you have to find the correct menu using the left and right arrows. So I'm going to look for octave here. I'm going to press enter. And at the moment it's showing that the octave for the upper 1 keyboard is set to 0, and there's no upper 2 layer on that. I press the arrow again. Now we get to lower 1, which is the bass voice, and I've set that octave to 0 so that it will display on the virtual keyboard that's up here in the corner. But if I want it to sound more natural with that bass voice, I can lower that octave, but now it disappears off my virtual keyboard. So the bottom octave of the actual keyboard isn't being displayed up here in the corner. The other thing to say about the split function is you can change where that split occurs. I've got it happening here after the F sharp. And again, you can see it jump down an octave. Let me put it back to 0. So there's a G on the keyboard below middle C. That's the F sharp. And then the next note is that high bass. But I can change the split point. Let's just exit this menu for the minute, and I'm going to hold down the split button. Notice on the keyboard that you've often got this symbol, an arrow pointing downwards on a key, and that is telling you to press and hold that key down. So this is one of those keys to press and hold. So I'm going to press and hold, and now you can see the split point, and I can change that either just by pressing a note on the keyboard, or if you want a bit more fine control, again use the data wheel to find the right point. So let's put it a little bit lower. Let's put it to E. So the bass is going to start at E, and and then the piano will start at F. If I wanted to bring the bass a bit higher, first note on the keyboard is G now, so that's the bass here on G, and then the A flat 3 is the piano. Okay, let's exit that screen and go back to our voices. I'm just going to unsplit for the minute and go back to piano voice, because obviously the other thing you can do, you're not stuck with this particular combination. As nice as it is to have a piano with a bass voice in your left hand, we could have piano in this hand, in the right hand, and we could have strings in the left hand. So press the split button, and at the moment it's still saying acoustic bass, so let's change that to one of the string voices. So now my left hand is playing strings. Notice how on the virtual keyboard up here, the notes are actually sort of overlapping with each other. I'm pressing an E on the keyboard for the piano, and I'm pressing an E an octave lower for the strings, but it's actually sending out the same MIDI note, the same MIDI value. And again, I can change the octave, go into the function menu, scroll along until I find octave, press enter, scroll again until I get to lower 1 octave, and I can change the octave of these strings. So I could actually have the lower keyboard an octave higher than what I'm playing with my right hand. So my left hand is playing this chord, and my right hand is playing this melody. Or I could even take the strings up another octave. We could go into a lot more detail, but for the moment I think that's probably enough, and you can have an experiment with the split function as well. And of course you can combine it with layers as well, and functions, the octave and transpose functions, and portamento and sustain. There's a lot more depth to get into here, but for the moment we'll leave it at that, and you can have an experiment with the keyboard and the split function. Thanks for watching.